I was teaching at Marietta last year. I had the worst nightmare July 31st, 2017. It was actually daytime at this point. So as I woke up, I sometimes sleep in my car. It's no big deal. I know how to live out of my car. So I was sleeping in my car that weekend. And when I woke up from the nightmare, it was daylight. Okay, but I woke up right before. I had the dream right before I woke up. Guys, I'm telling you, it was the worst dream possible. I dreamed I was still a school teacher. It was bad. Another one of those nightmare dreams. Oh, it's not funny. Wait till you're a school teacher. Okay, but anyways.
My sister is, she hates it.
I did it for 3 years.
It,
And that's all, as long as you can do it for.
that's all he
You
can,
couldn't do it
that's
for
as long
one
as he
day.
can do it for you. Yeah, he understands.
I guess I'm not interested in this
And yeah, it was a love-hate relationship. Yeah, probably same with you. There were probably times where it was satisfactory for you.
Yeah.
You know, that even on my worst days, there was usually at least one point in the day where I made some sort of connection and was very satisfying. You know, even if it's one-on-one with a student or something. You know, but it's been enough. And besides that, I've known since March 24th, 2007, that my dog was starting to transition me out of teaching. So it was another 5 years before I came out totally. But I'll wait till everybody can hear this story. Now that break's over, let's go to the bathroom. Come in. I hate for her to miss any of I hate people to miss any of the stories that I have possibly. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I'll wait. Everybody on their phone now. Everybody on their phone. We're waiting. Oh, hello. Oh, hi. So, I should have known it was a dream because my students were well behaved. That was like one of the only good things in that whole nightmare. My students were well behaved. They were bored. They just, I felt bad for them because I wasn't giving them the quality teaching that they deserved. But I dreamed, because I was always a connections teacher, I never had a homeroom. There were times during the years that I would teach connection classes that I didn't even have a room of my own, homeroom or not, okay? And so I was a floater. So I would travel throughout the building, either the 6th grade hall, 7th grade hall, 8th, or just depending on planning period. And so, in the dream, I was in the media center, and I was holding class in the media center, and it was a small class, but I didn't know the first thing about what do I teach them. I've always been horrible at lesson plans. I just hated lesson plans with a passion, and was never good at them. Just all the things about horrible handwriting, horrible classroom management skills, this and that, But I didn't know what to teach them, And I'm just like, oh my God, this, I got to teach, and just the pressure. And then this voice, I think it was the media specialist. I just hear this, Mr. Goss, please teach our class. And of course, just fear. I was just like immobilized, paralyzed at that point, fear. And so now I'm looking for Eddie, grasping at straws, looking through. So I was in the media center, so I'm looking through shelves like, okay, maybe find a lesson plan here, whatever. And then the bell rang, and You know, I never liked the show Saved by the Bell, but I really was like Saved by the Bell. I'm just like, thank God the bell rang. So I walk into the teacher's lounge. Now, our school didn't have a teacher's lounge, but in my dream, it did. And I'm in there, and there was this guy. It was obvious. I mean, I didn't know who the guy was, but it was obvious this guy was a substitute teacher. And he was standing up, and he was talking. There was like 2 or 3 teachers sitting around listening to him. He was like he was sharing, he was almost sharing the gospel, but he was sharing his faith through his stories. I had no idea what that could represent at all. But you know, he was a substitute teacher, and it's like the adults in the room, they were all adults, they were teachers, but those sitting around in this small little set, they were just like fascinated, just listening to him, you know? And I'm thinking, oh, that's cool. Good for him. God, it's nice to be me. You know, and I told you guys, I had known that I was being transitioned out of teaching. My dog let me know that years earlier. But I'm like, when? When? And then October 20th, 2011, there's the school year, you know. But then I still have these dreams on occasion, right? Then I left the teacher's lounge and I go into the office, the main office, and I'm talking to the school resource officer, and he's listening to me. Well, our school didn't have a school resource officer, but in my dream we did, and I'm just letting him know how frustrated I am and how horrible I am at this, and I'm not good at this, and he's like, well, I'll go tell Patty. Patty was, that was Dr. Highbuehler. She was the lady who first hired me on. I was at Lilburn, but then transferred to this new school, and she was my principal. And I had gotten in trouble with her before because of my I was like, no, you can't tell Patty. Oh no, they'll put me on another professional development plan. Oh no, I'll get fired. I'm like, seriously? Get fired. You won't have to teach anymore. I think about it now, right? But I said, no, you can't. And so now I'm doubling down on this school resource officer, just getting more animated about how frustrated I am, and then I start talking about lesson plans, and I'm horrible at lesson plans. I can't write a good lesson plan to save my life, and I remember saying, I don't have time for this petty stuff. And when I said the word petty, his eyes got really big. And he gave me this, he didn't say anything, but just the facial expression was, I can't believe you just said petty. I can't believe you just called this thing petty, you know? And I'm like, I knew I struck a nerve. And then I thought about it, I said, wow, wait a minute. You've said petty before. I remember we were having a conversation about a year ago, and you mentioned petty. So this whole thing, my principal was Patty, and now there's this petty thing coming up, and then I woke up, and my heart was racing. And I'm like, oh, God, not another dream about teaching. Will this ever end? Just like, but it just seems so real, and my emotions are just like racing, and then I'm like, God, were you in this dream? And then just out of me goes this, was actually physically coming. He likes to laugh through me sometimes. I know it's weird, but it's who I am. And I'm like, stop it, it's not funny. This isn't funny at all. And he laughed again. I'm not in a laughing mood. I have these conversations with Doug. Yes, yeah, I should be committed. Anyways, I'm trying to, regain my breath. I was so paralyzed with fear in that dream. It was horrible. And finally, I'm like, okay, maybe just the way my dog works. I've told you a little bit of the Civil War thing, but I'm like, he speaks to me through rock artists and songs. I don't know a whole lot about Tom. I know a lot of his hits, but I wasn't a follower. I'd never seen him in concert. I wasn't a fan. I wasn't not a fan. He wasn't one of the guys I followed, right? Like, well, maybe I should look up something with Tom Petty. So I go to Google, I'm like, Tom Petty, and Google Voice, and it says, Tom Petty's albums include Wildflowers and 19 other, and I'm like, oh my God, wait, whoa. Okay, so I knew back on March 24th, 2007, that my dog was beginning to transition me out of teaching. And that was interesting in itself, because I'm like, oh God, what did I tell my wife? Oh God. I'm not going to go into that story right now, okay? But I'm like, oh, this isn't going to go well. But I ended up taking a year's leave of absence, and I really believe that he was speaking to me. I thought I was quitting. I took a teacher's leave of absence just in case you could take a year-long leave of absence. I'm like, I'm not going back. I'm never going back. During that year's leave of absence, my wife is already struggling with clinical depression and just all sorts of stuff. That didn't help. Okay. But she was in agreement with me at first, but then she changed her mind. I didn't change my mind, and I took a year's leave of absence. During that time, I didn't know I was going to, but I put the entire book, except for a few verses here or there, but the entire book of Song of Solomon. I don't know if anyone's ever read the book of Song of Solomon. It's one of the books of the Bible, but it's a story book. It's a story between just a bride and a bridegroom, basically, or a husband and wife, or whatever. Okay, and just a beautiful story. The burning love of the groom for the bride, you know, and then just there's a lot of allegory. I mean, there's erotic in it, you know, but there's also a lot of allegory, like Christ in His church and all sorts of things. God in Israel has been interpreted a lot like that as well. But anyways, I didn't plan on it. I hadn't written any worship songs for over 13 years, and I just thought I'd start putting some songs to music, and I did a song for Song of Solomon. After about three songs, I'm like, I wonder if I'm thinking concept albums. I didn't really want to go there. I just real quickly. Concept albums, like story albums that tell from the beginning to the end. So I like progressive rock, early 70s progressive rock, some of the British bands and stuff like that would do. A concept album can be a thematic album. All the songs focus on a single theme. So the Eagles, Hotel California, that's a thematic album. The Eagles, Desperado, that's more of a story thematic album. And some albums, they tell a story from beginning to end. Pink Floyd, The Wall. Genesis, Lamb Lies Out on Broadway. The Who, Tommy, that's the first rock opera. And I thought, can I put Song of Solomon together like that? And I mean, the musical ideas were just like flowing. I had the whole book done in about 5 weeks. It was amazing, and it felt so beyond me. So I can come back to that story another time. Just know that I put the Song of Solomon together. Well, one of the songs was called Wildflowers. So one of the songs I put together is called Wildflowers. That's the point I'm making. Okay. So Tom Petty's albums include the album Wildflowers. I'm like, whoa. Yeah. So then I'm like, well, does he have a song called Wildflower? Then he does. Who's heard that song? Anyone heard that song? It was not a hit, but it was the name of the album. Now, let's get to the point. Let's roll another joint. You don't know how it feels. It comes from that album. There are a couple of hits that came from that album. So I'm listening to the song from Wildflowers, and it sounds like, parts of it sounds like it's coming right out of the Song of Solomon, which is interesting. Yeah. Because that's where Wildflowers, my song Wildflowers that are entitled, came from the book of Song of Solomon. But the opening lyrics, now think about the dream I just told you guys. The opening lyrics of that song. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. Sail away, kill off the hours. You belong somewhere where you feel free. I felt anything but free in that dream. I felt totally trapped. Totally, And, so I wake up, I wonder, you're speaking to me through Tom Petty, and it's just bam, 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 wildflower. And then there was more to the story, and I'm like, wow. And then I realized, you know what? I dreamed it on July 31st. It was the 5-year anniversary of when I quit teaching, when I received my very last paycheck as a teacher, July 31st, 2012. It's the 5-year anniversary. And the next day I flew to Boston to go to a conference. I'd never been to New England before, but a friend of mine kept coming to the church I used to go to. If anyone can come to this conference or to this gathering in Boston, August 1st through 4th, 2012, it's going to be life-changing. If you can come, if you can come at all, please come. And I thought, I'm going to get one more paycheck as a teacher. I don't know what I'm doing after I quit. I just know I'm supposed to quit. Why not take that step of faith and go up to Boston, Natick, which is outside of Boston, is where it was, Natick, Massachusetts. And so I did. I went up there. It's August 1st through 4th, 2012. So anyways, the dream was the 5-year anniversary of my last paycheck as a school teacher. So there's that going on. And then I find out, it was a Monday night at Marietta. So I've been teaching that. So I shared that night, and they said, school started back today in Cobb County. I'm like, no, I didn't know that. But I didn't know how to interpret all the dream. Some of it had me a bit concerned because something happened that weekend. I had students in from a midweek class that canceled. I find out later, I had this one lady who she was on her phone too much. It was important business, but her phone kept buzzing. I didn't address it like I should have. But that Saturday, about 4:30, they come in from break, and she's like red, and she's like, she had gotten bit by a fire ant, and she was breaking out. She was having a reaction. She said, I've got to leave. She said, I'll see you tomorrow morning, right? I'm like, it's an hour and a half. Yeah, I like this. Only excuse. Yeah, you have to go see a doctor, And then a part of me is wanting, I wish I didn't do this, but I did. It's like I want to work with the student too much, and I'm putting myself in jeopardy. I said, okay, tell you what. Come in an hour and a half early tomorrow morning. I'll work with you then. So I did. And she did. And then she said, thank you so much, because I wasn't so sure, because there's another woman in the class, another female in the class. She didn't seem happy. Well, this woman that I said, come, I'll work with you, come meet, she was the reason that midweek class canceled. She was student number 5. 4 showed up, and she canceled at the last second because she had business. So nobody had business. So now I got a couple of people in the class already pissed at her, not knowing this at the time, And then she continued to have phone vibration problems, this and that. And so I'm having this dream. So on the last day, Mr. Goss, please teach your class, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm not following the curriculum like I should be with day one. And then on top of that, my license was expiring. And so now I'm dealing with you know, I'm living in Alabama now, I'm taking care of mom. I know he called me out of teaching 5 years earlier. Are you calling me totally out of teaching now? Are you calling me out of DUI instruction? I had to just cut everything off in Georgia and just stay in Alabama. And then I'm thinking, do you want me to become a substitute teacher in Alabama? Is that what you're calling me to do? Oh God, I don't want to do that. You know, but I will if I have to. But do I take a substitute teacher job during the day and deliver pizza at night in Alabama? I didn't know. I just knew my license was about to expire. And so I was going to have to go through all this. To keep your Georgia license, you have to go through all this crap, you know. And then I realized I didn't have enough continuing education credit. I was about 3.5 hours short. So I get online, Prime for Life, they offer a lot of free seminars and stuff that you can go to. And so in September, I was going to go to Callaway Gardens, free, but if I cancel out within 2 weeks or I don't show up, I'm charged $100 off my credit card, you know. And here's what happened after that class, because I had been getting a lot of work. I was getting a lot of call-ins, you know, like, hey, can you come teach? Or like, same thing, yeah, come in. All of a sudden, A1 wasn't calling me. And I would text and no response. And I'm like, crap. I know what happened. That girl got her certificate of completion. Then she called my boss and complained. And I'm not getting any more teaching jobs with A1. Crap. Yeah. And finally, weeks go by, and I get this call from the front office manager in Marietta. Yeah, Mr. Goss, just wanted to let you know you're on schedule for, and it was about 3 weeks out. I just wanted to confirm, and I'm like, yeah, I'll teach it. And I'm thinking something's wrong with this picture. They never confirmed 3 weeks out. They only confirmed like the week before. Why are they wanting to know for 3 weeks out, you know? And then I get a call from another A1 location, same weekend, wanting me to confirm. They're wanting me to confirm for the same weekend in 2 different locations. And then all I could think was, I'm being set up. Okay, I'm being set up. Now, my second or third year, when I first began teaching DUI class, I go into Sugar Hill, and the front office person said, you did not hear this from me, but someone's here to observe you. Okay, I'm not supposed to tell you. You deserve $30. And so, yeah, so I had a heads up. Come to find out, someone had complained, someone from the state got in touch with Prime for Life. You need to send someone over and check this guy out, you know. But I was on schedule then. That was easy. They, you know, hey, when so-and-so teaching, okay, we need that, and they just show up. I'm not on schedule anymore. Ever since I quit, I've been on call. So now, they're suddenly putting me on a schedule for the same weekend, 2 different locations, in case one location doesn't make, the other location will, and that someone from the DDS, or someone from Prime for Life, or maybe a mole. Maybe a mole was planted upon my classes. Maybe they were going to plant a spy who came in at the last second. Student.
He's looking right at us. Like, it's a
That's never happened to me. It's never happened. You know how I know? I'm still teaching class. It's never happened to me. So, but anyways, it was freaking me out. And as it got closer and closer, and I'm thinking, why the hell, why should I bother? I know I'm not